I know what it is. See, we didn't learn any of that. No, we did.
Which means if you have something that looks like this, 43 times 12. Okay, the first thing, children, you must understand is, I'm sure, did I do something wrong?
No, I just want to show how to do it.
Yeah, well, we'll wait on that. The first thing you must understand is the way that we do multiplication and that you are shown to do multiplication is like a, well, a shorter, more compact way of what you're really doing. I mean, we do it, and I'm sure you've been taught to do it like this, multiply by the 2, 2 times 3 is 6, 2 times 4 is 8. And then when you get to this one, you're supposed to put a 0 down there, and then multiply by the 1 times the 3, and then the 1 times the 4, and then you add those two together and you get 6, 1, 5. But what I want you to understand is, you know, that is putting together a whole bunch of things that you're doing kind of behind the scenes. In other words, what you're doing when you do this, where these lines come from, is multiplying 43 times 12 is the same thing as multiplying 43 times 2. That's where the 2 is. That's what got us the 86. And then we're also multiplying the 43 by this here number, which is not a 1,
10.
but a 10. And that's why you drop the 0 down. You start with that 0 because you're multiplying by a 10. It ends with 0, and you get the 3 and the 4. And then that 43 we put down here, and then you add those two together because it's like 43 times 2 plus 43 times 10, and that's where the 516 gets put down there. Okay? You should understand why this works, because really, if you gave a kid that hadn't been told how to do this, the problem 43 times 12, they would not have done this. Okay, if they had never been taught to do it, they would have thought, I don't even know how they would have thought to do it. Okay, but when you multiply 43 times 12 and you get this whole thing, it's because you're multiplying by the 2 and you're multiplying by the 10, and that's why, I mean, did you ever ask yourself, well, why when I go to that 1 do I put a 0 down there? Well, you do that because you're not multiplying by 1, you're actually multiplying by 10. And anytime you multiply by 10, it ends with that 0 there. So another one. What if it's, what about 86 times 13? You know, that really is the same thing as 86 times 3 plus 86 times 10. And, okay, I'm not a, well, let's do this problem first. Let's do this problem first. What do you get if you do that? Go ahead and do that problem. Don't forget, what most people forget to do is put that 0 down when they get to the 1, so make sure you do that. Wade says,
1,118.
that seems a bit high. You got 1,000 something?
Yeah.
What was it? Oh, maybe it is. Sure. Let's do it. 18, maybe I'm just thinking. 24, 25, sure it is. And then 0 and an 86. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah. 1,118? Sure. I'll go with that. Now, back to what I was saying here. You know, if you have something like 17 times 12. Okay, I don't want you to do it right now. I want you to think about this. And this is for those of you that kind of have some mathematical genes in you. 17 times 12 is the same thing as 17 times 2 plus 17 times 10. If you're doing this in your head, and you're not going to yet, but when you get older, when you do problems in your head, you actually do them in reverse order. In other words, if I was doing this in my head, I would do 17 times 10 first, which is easy because it's 170. 17 times 2 is 34. So all I have to think about is what's 170 plus 34 in my head, and that gives me 204. If you know your multiplication facts and you know your addition facts that well, you can bam, do it that way. But you need to do it in reverse order, and you think of what the tens digit gives you, and then add what the ones digit. Otherwise, you do it like we did. 2 times 7 is 14. 2 times 1 is 3. There's your 34. Drop the 0, and 17 there gives you 204. But again, you won't be doing it in your head. See, my ultimate goal, people, is when you get into high school, when you get out in the real world, that you can do all of this in your head. But too often we get disillusioned what we're able to do in our head. We start guessing that thing and saying we did it in our head. That's why I make you do your work and that sort of thing. Parker?
Did you go to IMSA?
Yes. No. Parker, I couldn't even